forth. And Christians said nothing. For 7 years, from 2001 to 2008, when he left office, for the most part, the individuals that listen to Fox News and who go to World Net Daily and read all of those articles had no problem with it. Rush Limbaugh had no problem with it. And I watched how people just allowed the country to slither away because they believed that the leader would not hurt them. 2008 then came. Obama got elected. And Obama has not made it a secret that he has different ideas, ideologies, beliefs. He believes in the redistribution of wealth. He has socialistic beliefs. And in my opinion, he has communist-type beliefs. He was groomed by communist-type people. He's also a Muslim sympathizer. So these same individuals who got together and rah-rahed the Patriot Act then got together and said, Obama's bad. He's the devil. Shame on Obama. He wants to take away our guns. And Ted Nugent went on news programs and they talked about how bad it was to take away the Second Amendment. Okay, folks, now this is the part that absolutely makes no sense. Because after the Boston bombing, when the news stated that the two brothers were Islamic jihadists and were Muslims, before they were even arrested, before there was proof that these accusations are true, the news had tried them and found them guilty in the court of public opinion. And because they did that, then the public wanted blood. The public wanted them dead. The public wanted to see the cops mow them down, kill them, kill those Muslims. And I saw, in fact, I printed it out. I'm not going to read the whole thing, but Mr. Ted Nugent, who believes in the Constitution's Second Amendment, wrote an article in World Net Daily, published it, and he says in here, quote, the jihadist punk in custody is obviously guilty of committing murder, terrorist acts, and a whole book of other crimes. And then he goes on to complain that, unfortunately, justice won't be served quickly. He's going to sit in prison for a while, and he's going to be fed and taken care of. And that's wrong, because his neck needs to be stretched in public, in front of everybody. We need to just execute him. And according to Ted Nugent, who believes in the Second Amendment, the Fifth Amendment doesn't matter. The Fifth Amendment has to do with due process. It has to do with you are innocent until proven guilty. It has to do with habeas corpus. How does that happen? In the way that we treat the accused. After his article was posted on World Net Daily, you can go read it, folks. Look at the comments. Because comment after comment, yeah, you're right, Ted, let's string him up. Let's kill him. He's guilty. And as I was reading these comments, I was thinking to myself, are you serious? The same guy that promotes the Second Amendment is spitting on the Fifth Amendment? And then one person actually said that. They said, you guys, we need to let him have his day in court before we condemn him. And the one person that said that started getting hammered and attacked. People accused him of being some liberal. If you don't like America, you need to leave. We don't need your kind here. Get out of here, etc., etc. So it appears that all Satan needs to convince Americans to throw away the Constitution is to just give them a few terrorist acts. Let them have a few bombings. Whether it's done by real jihadists or whether it's a false flag, it doesn't matter. All you got to do is just do it, and the people galvanize and throw away their rights. Ladies and gentlemen, I saw the images. I saw the news reports. I saw the video of how Boston allowed itself to be placed in lockdown. Boston shut down because they were after one guy. All of the transportation stopped. The subway stopped. It became a no-fly zone. People couldn't go to work. Everyone was under house arrest. You couldn't leave. And if you did leave, you were going to get in trouble. Martial law came to Boston to find one guy. Did Boston complain about it? No. Because when they did find the little brother in the boat, after he was found, there was a parade for the SWAT team. Yay! Thank you for making us prisoners. Thank you for making us live in this courtyard of the Iron Curtain USA. Yay! Thank you. Thank you for bringing the police state to Boston. Yay! I didn't get to go to work. I didn't get to go buy food for my family, but thank you. They cheered. They had a parade. Yay! You sequestered us with no rights. And then you went up and down our streets. Yay! And then you went inside of houses without warrants. And you searched houses without warrants, and you dragged people out of their houses. Yay! Folks, Boston allowed itself to get raped by Homeland Security. It allowed itself to get ravaged. Throw away the requirement for warrants. Let them come in your house. Well, Nathan, they had guns. They had heavy weaponry. Yeah, they did. And guess what that's called, ladies and gentlemen? That's called a police state. The militarization of the police forces is now here. They didn't look like cops, by the way. They looked like soldiers, and they were dressed like soldiers. They had the same gear as soldiers. So posse comitatus is now thrown out the window. And folks, as I'm watching this whole event, I was asking myself, if God was looking down from heaven, and if God was thinking, okay, America, let's see how you react to this. Are you going to allow yourself to listen to slander and just judge freely a person without following the rules that you know or you're supposed to follow? Let's find out what you're going to do. And, well, now we know, folks, don't we? Now we know that if the news says that someone's guilty, that means they are. And it's easy to be unconcerned about this until, what if it happens to you? What if they say you're guilty? What if they said your wife or your spouse, your children, your nephews, your parents, they're guilty? We know they're guilty. They're a part of this belief system. Therefore, they're guilty. They're terrorists. And what if in the future Christians are going to be accused of being terrorists or evil or against the state or enemies of the state, enemy combatants, insurgents, etc., without legal due process? How are the citizens going to feel then? How is Ted Nugent going to feel then? If you happen to be listening to this program and you read that article on WorldNet Daily by Ted Nugent and you posted, well, I believe that the guy's guilty, so there. I don't have a problem with it, Nathan. He's a Muslim. They deserve to die. All those Muslims. Ladies and gentlemen, the Bible's very, very clear. The way that we treat others is the same way we're going to be judged. And based on what I have observed, it is very apparent that this thing was a psychological analysis, litmus test, to find out what the people would do. You throw in a little bit of chaos and you garnish it with fear, and then you marinate it with a little bit of unknown, and due process is thrown out the window. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm not trying to be rude as I'm saying these words, but I'm very concerned. Now, folks, if you are a freedom-loving patriot, please do not fall for this, because the manner in which you condemn others may be the same manner that you will be condemned. Now, what if the two brothers didn't act alone? I know that they said that the little brother's confessing that it was just him and his big brother, Tamerlane. They did it alone. They had no funding. No one else helped them. That's the latest media report. But then we have to include this. The United States knows how to get a confession. So where are we in a timeline? Here's where we are. We are in a dangerous precedent right now. I can see that the next phase of the judgment is going to come to a city near you. And I'm going to talk about that later, by the way. But now that they know that when terrorism is introduced, martial law is easy. The people don't care. And they'll clap for their chains. And they will clap for their slavery. Man, Nathan, those are harsh words. Folks, the reason that I am being so candid right now is because I have a warning of an event that I saw happen. God gave me God gave me several prophetic dreams recently. I'm going to share those later on in this program. But as I have watched this thing unfold, it has given me an uncomfortable confirmation that the prophetic dreams that I had are going to happen. And after those things occurred that I'm about to share, we're going to see America get on the fast track to her demise, the fast track to the last days. America has rounded a corner, and the winds of great change are now blowing against her. And as more of these type of events come, we're going to see a separation occur among the citizens of America. Now, we've already gone around the turning point. It's too late to go back. It's too late to slow it down. We have already gone around the turning point. So now, what we need to do is figure out a way to steer ourselves and navigate our own lives, because the SS America is now moving into new waters. And these new waters that SS America is now floating in, for most people, are uncharted waters. Most people are going to see America turn into something they do not recognize. Now, I've been talking about that also. We're watching it happen in the economy, and it's some slow changes. But as more events start happening, folks, the United States is going to become an unrecognizable creature. that is going to marvel. The rest of the world is going to look at America and say, how could this have happened to her? America used to be the bastion of freedom. America used to be the home of the free and the brave. But now she's the home of the slaves, of the inmates, and the fearful. America has entered these new waters, and as I said, they're uncharted for most. But for the minions of the underworld, this is common territory. It is chartered territory. Nathan, what do you mean the minions from the underworld? This is what I mean, folks. There was a sleeping giant, a sleeping monster creature who was locked up in isolation, and he was confined to the bottomless pit under the earth. And in times past, he was allowed to awaken and come out of hibernation and roam the earth. And he left his footprints when he made his rounds. His footprints were the beastly empires that rose up for a season in man's history. They were the empires that have impacted man's history. They were the powerful, tyrannical, and bloodthirsty empires. And in their time, they plowed the earth and they oppressed man and ravished women and they killed little babies. They were the beast empires of the past. Assyria, Babylon, Persia, Greece, they've come and gone. And in the natural mind of man, they were merely kingdoms with clever leaders. But in the spiritual realm, they had a beastly, satanic, fallen angel influence with the help of evil spirits and the dragon, Satan. And once again, ladies and gentlemen, the bottomless pit is now opening. And the creature from the bog of hell is being awakened, and he's going to make an appearance. Now, folks, please hear what I'm saying right here. In these end times, this creature is going to once again rise up. And when I'm talking about this creature, I mean a demonic creature from hell. And he's going to be like one of those giant underworld reptiles from a Hollywood movie, but he's going to be a spirit, and it's not going to be a movie. It's going to be real life. And folks, it's happening right now. It's begun. It's been occurring over the last few years, and I've talked about it. The inauguration was a part of it. Behind the scenes, the infiltration began. The doorways, the gateways, the portals of hell's underworld have started opening. The invasion of spirits is underway. It is in play. And as it occurs, events are going to happen on the news. Events, folks. Weird events. Confusing events. Diabolical and unbelievable events are going to happen. And as these things do, for the people of America, for the citizens, we're going to watch and see and witness a huge potion of deception. And it's going to be released into the air. Great deception, folks. And deception makes it hard for people to know and believe the truth. Deception causes people to believe a lie. This brings me back to my original point. As we have watched the Boston bombing, we're watching it happen now. We are watching deception. Ladies and gentlemen, this is playing out in the real world, while at the same time, demonic entities are pulling many strings. And most people don't get this. They don't get it. And they will not get it. Most people are too blind to get it. Now again, ladies and gentlemen, these are not the only things that are going to happen. And it's not just starting now. This is the culmination of years of warning that I've been doing on this program. That's what Watchman's Cry is. That's what we do. Seek God. Seek discernment. Seek His wisdom. Seek His understanding. Seek His word. And share it with you. The scriptures tell us that because He has compassion on His people, He tries to warn them first so that they can prepare and get ready. And then after the warning is given, the people have a choice to believe it or to deny it, to reject it, to mock it, to scoff it. And most of the time, the sad reality is that most people reject the prophetic warning. Even in this day, even in this late hour, even when we can read in the scriptures that in the last days God will pour out His Spirit on all flesh, and sons and daughters will prophesy. Young men would see visions, old men dream dreams. The Holy Spirit would be poured out on God's people to warn them what time it is. And that is happening right now. I say this many times on these programs. Ladies and gentlemen, I am not the only one getting prophetic dreams. This is happening in a very awesome Holy Spirit inspired phenomenon right now in this late hour.